People always say you'll just know when someone is lying to you, but they never talk about what it feels like when you don't want to know. My name's Micah. I'm 35, work nights as a 911 dispatcher in a mid-sized town just outside of Denver. Most of my life revolves around other people's emergencies. Panic in my ears, voices breaking like glass. I've learned to stay calm, always. Measured. Which is probably why Abby thought I'd never see it coming. We've been married for 6 years. No kids. Just us, a 3-legged dog named Pilot, and a house that always smelled like her candles. Abby was a substitute teacher until something better came along. She made playlists for our weekend drives. Sent me texts like, "Come home safe," and "Missing you already," while sleeping with someone else in our bed. It started with her keychain. It sounds stupid, but I knew every jingle it made, every tiny sound. So when I heard it one night as I pulled into the driveway at 1:14 a.m., an hour early from my shift, and saw her car wasn't there, I knew something was off. She came home 15 minutes later, smelling like citrus and guilt. Her hair still damp. "Just needed to drive and think," she said. Sure. I didn't argue. I went inside, made her tea, kissed her forehead. But from that moment on, I was listening differently. She started guarding her phone like it held nuclear codes. The way she held it tighter when it buzzed. How she smiled a half second after reading a message, like she was rehearsing her reaction. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I started making notes. Times. Dates. The phrases she repeated when she lied. How she always said, "You'd laugh if you saw my day," when I asked what she did. How she started showering at 4 p.m. and putting on perfume to just run errands. I played dumb. Meanwhile, I started digging. She used a backup Gmail account linked to our Hulu login. I guessed the password on the third try. It was her maiden name and the number 3. Classic. Inside? Gold. Email receipts. Hotel bookings. A Dropbox link labeled private. She'd backed up photos there. Photos of her. And him. Him was a man named Colton. A CrossFit coach. Shirtless in most of the pictures. Married, of course. 2 kids and a podcast about discipline and truth. They met at a wellness retreat she said was mostly about breathing exercises. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I made coffee and started mapping out every single piece of their lie. Because Abby didn't just cheat on me. She chose someone else and then kept choosing him while acting like I was her anchor. What she didn't know is that I'd already started cutting the rope. But I didn't want her to fall. Not yet. First, I wanted her to watch herself unravel. Piece by perfect piece. Most men go straight for the explosion. Me? I prefer the slow leak, the kind that soaks the floor, warps the wood, and leaves everything looking fine until the whole house collapses. Colton, the guy Abby chose over me, was every cliche rolled into one. Protein shakes, backward caps, live authentically tattoos, and the emotional intelligence of a smoothie blender. The kind of man who says she gets me because she laughs at his deadlift videos. He had no idea who I was. But I knew everything about him. His gym was 20 minutes from our place. I started going. Paid cash. Signed up under my middle name, Levi. Wore a hat. Grew my beard out a little. Stayed quiet, unnoticed. Just another guy in the background. But I watched. Watched how he smiled at every woman who lingered 5 seconds too long at the squat rack. Watched how he texted during sessions. Watched how he used the same phrases I'd seen in Abby's messages. "You're the calm I never knew I needed. You're like oxygen to me." I watched him recycle lies like he was proud of them. So I started planting seeds. One afternoon, he mentioned something offhand to a client about a weekend getaway with someone special. I looked up from my weights. "Nice. The cabin in Morrison?" He blinked. "How'd you know?" I shrugged. "Small town. My buddy owns the B&B up there. Says a couple comes in all the time, guy's a coach, girl's married. Says they're loud." He didn't laugh. Just gave a tight smile and turned away. Perfect. Later that week, I used a burner email to message Colton's wife. Simple. Direct. Attached, a photo from the Dropbox folder of him and Abby on a porch, wrapped in a blanket that was very obviously not ours. Subject line, "In case he hasn't been honest." I didn't include my name. Didn't need to. The next day at the gym, Colton was off. Distracted. Short with clients. Left early. Abby noticed. "That night," she said, "Colton's dealing with something personal. He's being weird." I nodded sympathetically. "Hope he's okay." Then I kissed her goodnight. She didn't deserve the courtesy, but I wanted her to think the world was still intact. That's what made the cracks satisfying. I started slipping reminders into her day. One morning, she opened her laptop to find a photo of us from 3 years ago. Happy, holding hands, her eyes clear. I'd set it as the desktop background. I missed that photo, she said, surprised. Did you change it? No, I lied. Must have been an old backup. She stared at it for a moment, then closed the lid. Next week, she came home to dinner already made. Candlelit. Her favorite pasta. Music playing low. She looked confused. What's this for? I smiled. Just because. But in the candlelight, she looked uncomfortable. Like being treated with kindness was a threat. She wasn't wrong, because I'd already sent her mother a different photo, one from the Dropbox. Abby in lingerie, not facing the camera. No face shown. Just enough for a concerned message. I knew how to write it. This came to me anonymously. I don't know if it's her. But if it is, someone's taking advantage of her, and you should know. Her mom replied to her 2 days later, short, tense. Be careful who you trust. Abby didn't tell me, but I saw her reading that message in the bathroom, hunched over like it physically hurt. Still, she said nothing. And that was the most delicious part. She knew something was coming. She just didn't know where it would hit next. Because for all her lies, she'd forgotten one basic truth. 911 dispatchers are trained to stay calm in chaos. We don't panic. We prepare. And Abby? She was already burning. She just hadn't smelled the smoke yet. You learn a lot about people when they think you're clueless. Abby had no idea I'd been in control for weeks. To her, I was still the quiet husband, a little tired, maybe distant. But not angry, not suspicious, and certainly not calculating. That was the key, letting her believe the performance was still working. But now it was time to start tearing down the audience. Her best friend, Tara, was first. They'd known each other since college. Brunches, birthdays, soul check-ins. Abby once said Tara was like a mirror for her. So I made sure she saw what Abby had turned into. I sent her a message from another burner, this time from a fake profile named Mara Watches. Inside was a photo of Abby and Colton kissing behind the gym, taken by me the week prior. The caption read, "Your best friend's mirror is cracked. Thought you should know before she cuts you too." No response. No need. A few days later, Abby came home fuming. Tara just canceled on me. Last minute. No explanation. I shrugged. Weird. Maybe something came up. She paced. No, something's wrong. She was cold. Like, suspicious. I sipped my drink. You sure it's not just your guilt talking? She froze. I didn't look up. She said nothing more that night. I could feel her starting to doubt the ground beneath her feet. That's when I gave it one final kick. Colton. His podcast was his pride and joy. Weekly uploads. All that pseudo-deep bro wisdom. Own your truth. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And my personal favorite. No excuses, only integrity. So I clipped some of his own audio. From private messages Abby had saved. Him moaning her name. Telling her how she's better than his wife in every way. Gritty, raw, embarrassingly performative. I edited it into his next public episode. Quietly uploaded it to his hosting platform under his credentials, because Abby had shared those with him once and saved the email. I still had access. The episode went live. 20 minutes of fluff, and then, like a virus hiding in a file, his own voice in a very different tone. The fallout was immediate. Colton pulled the podcast down in under an hour, but it was too late. Reddit had it. His gym clients had it. His wife had it. And Abby? She came home with panic in her eyes. "I think something happened to Colton's podcast," she said, breathless. "Oh," I replied. "What kind of something?" She blinked. "Like, someone hacked it. There's stuff on it. Of us." I stared at her. She stared at me.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing experience, but we really need your support, namely a subscription to the channel, which can make it possible to hire a professional voice actor and make the best content for you.
Silence. Then she asked, "Did you do it?" I smiled. Not warm. Not cruel. Just calm. "I thought you said I was too passive to notice anything." Her face went slack. "Micah, please." I stood up. Walked to the kitchen. Let the silence stretch so tight I could feel it snap between us. Then, finally, "I gave you a life people pray for. You turned it into an affair playlist." She started crying. I let her. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered. "You never do," I said. "That's the problem with people like you. You think damage doesn't count if it's dressed in apologies." She tried to speak again, but I walked upstairs, locked the door, and started packing. Because my revenge wasn't just about wrecking her world. It was about removing myself from it entirely. So when the dust settled, all she'd be left with was the sound of her own betrayal echoing in a house full of memories she didn't deserve. And I wasn't done yet. You can break a liar with evidence, but to truly ruin them, you let them perform their truth in front of everyone they swore they'd never disappoint. The final blow was never going to be screaming, or a fight, or me standing in the kitchen throwing photos across the room. That would have made her the victim. No, I wanted her to implode under her own spotlight. Abby's 35th birthday was coming up. She'd been planning a party for weeks, a grown-up picnic in Cheeseman Park with coordinated blankets and color-coded wine tags. Everyone she admired was invited. Her girls, a few teachers, Colton's gym crowd, even her mom. She called it a celebration of peace and presence. I called it an opportunity. She asked if I'd help with the setup. I agreed, of course, smiled through it all, helped her pack pastel cushions into the car, even took the day off work, because I had my own contribution planned. Before guests arrived, I pretended to forget something at home and drove back. In reality, I was grabbing the last piece, a carefully printed set of envelopes, one for each guest. Inside, a QR code. Scanned, it led to a cleanly designed web page. Password protected. One word, Abby. And once opened, a slow, scrolling gallery of selected screenshots. Photos, text logs, audio, the kind of things no one could rationalize. Not crude, not scandalous, just undeniable. Abby calling me emotionally small, telling Colton she can't believe he still buys the good guy act. Photos of her in bed with Colton, with our dog curled up at the foot, Pilot, who still wagged his tail when she came home. I left the stack of envelopes and a neat fan on the main blanket, right next to the charcuterie board. Then I left. Didn't stay for the guests. Didn't wait for the gasps. I went home, took my time cooking dinner, watched the sun fall. At exactly 6:17 p.m., Abby called. I let it ring. She called again, then texted. Micah, what the F did you do? I replied one word. Accountability. She didn't reply, but I didn't need her to. The next morning, I went back to the park. The cleanup crew was there. Most of the picnic was gone, except one thing. One of the envelopes, torn in half, left on the grass like a dropped mask. I picked it up, smiled. It was done. Abby called again that night. This time her voice was small. No rage, just disbelief. How long have you known? Long enough. You planned all of this. Like you planned your Thursdays. Silence. Then, I've lost everyone. No, I corrected. You revealed yourself. I just turned on the lights. She broke then. Not loud. Not theatrical. Just the sound of a woman realizing she could no longer outrun her own echo. I didn't offer comfort. Didn't ask if she was okay. I simply said, don't call again, and hung up. That was the last time we spoke. I filed for divorce 2 days later. No fault. No negotiation. She didn't contest. What could she say? She'd already said everything. Just not to my face. And now, everyone else had heard it too. Revenge is supposed to feel satisfying. I expected the moment after the picnic detonation to taste like cold justice, something clean and sharp. But what I felt instead? Silence. Not emptiness. Just the silence of everything unnecessary falling away. The divorce finalized fast. Abby didn't show up. Her lawyer emailed one line. Client has no objection. Full agreement to terms. Translation. She knew better than to try. She moved out within a week. Left her stuff behind. Books she never read. A yoga mat she'd only ever used as a background prop. A box of old notes we used to write each other, back when we thought love meant syncing playlists and finishing each other's fries. I didn't touch any of it. I just bagged it and left it on the porch. She picked it up one night while I wasn't home. Didn't knock. She never stepped foot in the house again. But her presence lingered for a while, like smoke after a fire. Every now and then, I'd find her hair ties in drawers, her handwriting on sticky notes that had outlived their meaning. Don't forget garbage day. Pilot meds Tuesday. Kiss me when you get home. I read them once. Then I burned them all in the fireplace. One by one. Like a ritual. No rage. Just a quiet erasure of everything false. The world moved on. So did I. I switched shifts days now, not nights. The silence of 3 a.m. calls had been good while I was unraveling, but now I wanted presence. Sunlight. Conversations that didn't start with sirens. Pilot adjusted fast. He always liked me better anyway. And I started running again. Not for fitness. for rhythm, for breath, for that clean, repetitive proof that forward is always possible, one step at a time. It was during one of those runs that I saw Tara. She pulled up at a red light, windows down, music playing. She waved me over. I slowed, jogged up, caught my breath. "You good?" she asked. I soughed. "Getting there." She hesitated. "Then, we all saw it, Micah. What she did. What you did after." I raised an eyebrow. "You were too kind," she said. I didn't respond. Because she wasn't wrong. But kindness wasn't weakness. It was design. I didn't want to become like Abby, living behind manipulation and image control. I wanted the truth to do the work for me. And it did. I heard through whispers that Colton moved to Arizona. Shut down his podcast. His wife took the girls and started over. Abby lost her job not long after, something about misrepresentation and compromised trust. A few mutuals tried to spin it. She was just confused. She lost herself. It wasn't all her fault. But no one came out and said I was wrong. Because I wasn't. One night, I got a DM from an account I didn't recognize. Blank profile. No posts. Just a message. I didn't know how to stop. "I'm sorry." I didn't answer. Didn't block it either. Some ghosts deserve to linger in their own purgatory. As for me, I kept moving. One day at a time. I deleted the Dropbox folder. Took down the site. Burned the burner phone. Not because I regretted what I did, but because I didn't need the evidence anymore. The truth had already done its job. It had exposed her and freed me. The most surprising thing about burning your life down is how quiet it gets afterward. No applause. No catharsis. Just air. Air where the lies used to sit. Air where your anger used to live. And silence that finally feels like a clean room, not an empty one. That's what my life became. Not a void. A space. When I got to rebuild, I didn't chase closure. I stopped waiting for some Hollywood line from Abby. Some handwritten letter. Some sobbing confession at my door. She disappeared. Literally from town. Figuratively from everything. One day, I went to search her name, just to see if she still existed in the same ways, and there was nothing. No profiles. No blog. No curated birthday collages. Just silence. I closed the tab and never searched again. Because I wasn't looking for her anymore. I was looking for me. I found pieces of him slowly. In the morning light through my kitchen window. In the way Pilot now slept on the other side of the bed like he knew it belonged to no one else. In the way I didn't flinch when my phone buzzed, expecting a lie on the other end. I started writing again. Just journals. Little pieces. Lines like, "Some people build homes inside your trust. Others light matches there. Not for publication. Just for release." Tara checked in sometimes. Never pried. We had coffee once. No expectations. She said, "I'm sorry for not noticing sooner." I told her, "It's not your fault." She fooled herself better than she fooled any of us. She smiled sadly. "I think that's the saddest part. She thought she was safe because you were kind." I nodded. She forgot that kindness doesn't mean blindness. Eventually, I met someone. Not a whirlwind. Not some rebound fairy tale. Just slow conversation. A woman named Delia. Bookstore manager. Steady. Quiet. Asked questions like she meant them. She told me she'd been divorced too. Nothing dramatic. Just hollow. We talked about grief like it was a roommate we both kicked out. She didn't ask for the full story. I gave her parts anyway. One night I told her I had to destroy everything to save myself. She took my hand. "That's still saving. Doesn't matter how." We didn't rush. She didn't fill the space Abby left. She just didn't need to. Because I'd stopped bleeding. And you don't build a life with someone by handing them your bandages. You build it with someone who doesn't mind the scars. Now, I don't think about Abby much. Sometimes, I see women on the street with her haircut and feel a flicker. But it passes. Because revenge is never about erasing someone. It's about reclaiming what they tried to steal. And Abby didn't take anything from me. She just showed me what was already rotting. So I gutted the house, cleared the wreckage, and built something better in its place. Not louder, not bigger, just honest. And that's the kind of peace no liar can touch.
What do you think of the story? Write in the comments.